Hey Roblox Studio Builders, Curb Monkey here again on the second video of the three-part series of the package system tutorial. In this video, we'll be going over creating packages using different asset types, the update and right-click menu options, collaborating across team members and place files, and common mistakes, as well as using the package system as source control for your assets. Just as a recap, the first video went into package introduction and basics. In the third video, we'll go over advanced package usage. So let's dive right in. So in the first video, we talked about how and why you should use packages and how to create them. I kind of want to dive in a little bit on making packages out of different asset types. First example here, I have a fire hydrant. And I mentioned in the first video that you always, or at least 90% of the time, you want to model group an object before you convert it into a package. So here, if I go into group as a model, this is going to be the best way for me to create a package out of this object. I'm just going to copy and paste the name here. But what happens if you don't do that? I'm going to duplicate that hydrant and pull it over just as an example. I'm also going to make another copy of this. I'm going to place it in a folder. And what I'm doing here is just showing you what happens if you make packages different asset types. So we have 3 identical meshes, but we're going to package them up differently. This one is in a model group. This one's going to just be a mesh. And this one's going to be in a folder. Now the folder doesn't have any locational data about it. So it brings up some interesting use cases, but most of the time, again, you're going to want to group your asset before converting to a package. So let me go down the line here and I'll convert each one of these into a package. So fire hydrant, we'll just put group here, submit that one, and then this one is just going to be a mesh, submit that one, and then this one's our folder. We're going to come up here and just rename this folder hydrant as well. And convert this into a package. And you'll notice right as I try to convert a folder into a package, it comes up with a warning. This object has 3D content in it, but is not a model. So moving or rotating it will count as a modified package. Are you sure you want to continue? I'm going to say yes here just for this example. So these are all packages. And again, I'm going to go in to my package links and turn them all on to auto update. That's again something I do every time I create one. That way I don't have to go around and update individual placements. So now that I created 3 packages, I'm going to make a copy of each one and just kind of move it and show you what happens. So on this one, the one that is a model group and kind of set up in the best practices way, that one moved fine. We're going to duplicate this one. That moved fine as well. And now I'm going to click on the folder, which is the parent package container for this foldered package. And I'm going to duplicate and move it. And you can see as soon as I did that, because the folder itself doesn't have any locational or transformative data in it, it's basically trying to move the mesh. So this is why you want to avoid trying to package things in a folder. I'm going to say OK here anyway. Come back to this one and hit publish to package. Let's see what happens. Now you can see because this folder doesn't have any transformative data in it, the only way to move that mesh was to physically move the underlying child, which incurred a package modification. And now you can see both of my packages are in the same spot. So this is one gotcha on trying to package up 3D assets within a folder group. Now, there are times that you can package things that are in a folder. Scripts, for example, would be one where there isn't actually a physical location to that script in 3D space. But models, you really shouldn't do this, and you should stick to a model. If you do have things that are, in a folder and you want to keep that folder structure, that's perfectly fine. The only thing you need to do if you want this type of hierarchy in your package is to go ahead and group that folder into a model group. Again, this will give you the transformative data that you need to move the package around without incurring a modified state. So I'm going to go ahead and package this, convert to package. Click the auto update on. And now if I duplicate this and move it around, you notice that transformative data is being saved with inside the model group, and the folder that's underlying now is okay. So again, you want to add things into a model group before packaging. Another issue I want to bring up is with just packaging a mesh straight out of the box without putting it in a model group. Let's say this was a rock or a bush, and you wanted to get that variation of size through an organic model, and just using a fire hydrant here because that's what I started with. But let's try to scale this. And you're going to see as soon as I try to scale, it's basically putting my package into a modified state. I'm going to revert changes here. That was a non-uniform scale, but you can also do the same thing in a uniform scale, and it's going to pull up this modified state. I'm going to revert changes again and just show you the difference in the model group. Because the model group contains that transformative data and it's not actually scaling the underlying assets, we can get away with adding all that variation via size, whether it's a small bush, a small rock, a large bush, or a large rock. It's all the same package, and the package isn't entering into a modified state. So that affords us that variation that we need to fill out a world and make it look like each rock has its own size or each bush has its own size. The other reason to use a model group is that you can think of this model group as the bucket of things that will be packaged or can be packaged up. So in this example, I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to grab this park bench, copy it, and I'm going to paste it into this model group. Paste into an original location. It's going to say, hey, you're adding something to the package. You're entering a modified state. And again, say okay. I'm going to pull this right next to this fire hydrant. I'm actually going to delete the fire hydrant just to prove a point here. So now I have a package that's named fire hydrant. Fire hydrant is gone, but I do have a park bench in there now. I'm going to publish this, and we're going to see the copy of it behind is auto updated as we'd expect. And this just goes to show that because we're using that model group as that bucket or container for everything that's going to be packaged, we aren't stuck with that fire hydrant as being part of our package. Where if you package up just a mesh by itself without first putting it in a model group, you're kind of stuck with that mesh. That mesh always has to be there because this package link is childed to that object. Do the same thing here where we're going to grab the park bench. We're going to copy it and we're going to paste it. And in this case, we have to paste it with inside the mesh itself. So paste into an original location. It's going to say, hey, you're entering a modified state on this package. We're going to say okay. But in this case, I can't delete that fire hydrant. Even if I wanted to, I can't delete it. because it is the parent container for the package link. So we're kind of stuck with that mesh in this package now, which isn't really what I want. I'll go ahead and publish here, and you can see the second one picked up the update of the bench being in here, but I don't want the fire hydrant now. So if I actually, there's no way for me to delete this or to move the package link under another object. You can see here, you can't reparent package link. So we've kind of got ourselves into a corner here. And there's no way to really change this. The only way to do this is to, delete this package and start by creating a brand new package that has a model group as its parent. There are a couple plugins that, if you do make this mistake and you've placed a ton of your packages that actually were made out of a model, there are replace plugins that you can use to quickly fix this issue. So here I'm gonna select the fire hydrant, and there's a replace objects plugin that's really useful. Use it all the time. And this will replace selected objects with the last selected object or asset. So I've selected this package, and I've selected the one I want to replace it with, and I've replaced it. And the pivot points were in different spots, so it did move, but I could have done all three of these, or all two of these, replacing with the actual one I want to use. And this is just a quick way of replacing. Even if you've placed a bunch of non-packaged assets down, and you're like, oh, I forgot to package everything up. This is a really easy way of creating a package and just replacing all your placements with your new package. And the package system isn't just meant for meshes and 3D objects. You can package up basically any asset within Roblox Studio, from scripts to UI, surface UI, GUIs, also effects and sound effects. So basically anything that you want to share across place files or across placements within your place file, you can package that object up for reusability. So don't think that it's just the 3D meshes or artwork. It's anything within inside of Studio. And so once you kind of get that in your head, you can really start to use the full power of the packages system. So now let's go through some of the package right-click menu options within the Explorer. So here you'll see we have a bunch of options in the package section here. We have publish package, which we've already seen. We have undo changes to package. Let me demonstrate that one. I'm going to go ahead and add a part to this fire hydrant. And it's going to place it just right inside here. And let's say I didn't want to do this modification. I'm kind of in a spot where I did something to it, or that I didn't want to, or I accidentally did something to it and I wasn't even aware that I did it. So in this state, if I've done something and I don't want to publish it, even if I deleted this cube out of here, this part out of here, it would still be in a modified state because I've kind of opened it up for editing. And if I wanted to revert that, that's all you have to do is go into the right click menu and do undo changes to package, and that will bring you back into its current version. Having something in a modified state will also keep that object or that placement from receiving any changes. So just to demonstrate that, I'm going to add another part to this one over here. And I'm I'm going to change it to a sphere or a ball, make it a little easier to work with. Let's say I wanted this sphere to be on the top of all of my hydrants. So I'm gonna publish that. Publish the package, and you'll see all of the packages have updated, but this one that was left in a modified state won't get that modification because it is modified. Any package that you want to have receive updates needs to be in what I like to call a clean state. So one thing you can do here is undo package or undo changes to package, and that will automatically tell it to get the latest version. And now you can see it's back in a clean state. The other item on the list is get latest package. So this is if somehow if you've reverted your package version down to something other than the current, you can see now I have that recirculation saying that it's not at the current state, and you can right click on an object and say get latest package, and that will also automatically fetch the latest version. You can see how it went. I forced it to 2 and it came back up to 3. I don't believe, let me see, I think if you have a modification on an object, you can't get latest. Because you're in a modified state. So what you'd have to do first is undo the changes and then get latest. Next on the list is package details. And this is interesting. It pulls up the configuration file for this package, and there's a bunch of information in here. The title, you can change the name or the title of the package. You can't change the creator. If it's created under your account or a group account, there's no way to switch those. There's some permissions. You can see who has permissions to this object. And within a group, you can see the roles and what permissions each role has. And you can also see the version number, and I'll get into this a little bit more later in this video. So there is some information in this, but not a ton, and we'll get into some more deeper dives into the information here with the compare package version. And this is a new tool which is extremely helpful for understanding what changed within a version of a package. We could do a video just on this window, but here we can see we have 2 view planes, and we're comparing version 3 with our local copy, and our local copy is at version 3. So just to show this off, let's go down and look at version 1. You can see now version 1 does not have the sphere on top, where our local copy or version 3 does have the sphere on top. And you can see the changes that happened within this package. We deleted a folder that had a copy of the mesh in it, and we've also added a part, which is our sphere here. We can also go to properties, and we can click on each object, and if there was anything that changed, you'll see that highlighted here. You can see on the version 1, the part was not a member of the package, so it's not showing any data, but over on the right-hand side in version 3 view, you can see all the properties for that sphere. So this is really handy in trying to figure out what changed between packages, and this kind of gets into team collaboration, right? You can see what has changed. If you're using a package from someone that maybe you grabbed a package off the marketplace and it changed for some reason, you can come in here and kind of investigate what changes happened and maybe decide which version you want to use depending on what changes had been made to that package. But that's a brief overview of the right-click menu and the package version tool that's built in there. One other right-click menu option that I want to go over is the update all. So if you have a bunch of packages that for whatever reason you decided not to have the auto update feature on, this is a way that you can update all of your placements of that package without having that feature turned on. So I'm going to go in and delete the sphere that we had put on top of that hydrant. I'm also going to change its color just to show this off a little bit more clearly. So I'm going to publish the package, and you'll notice all the other placements of this package are still at version 2 or 3. Let's see which one it says at. This is at 4, so all of these are at version 3. And if I wanted to update all of those, I could either go through and select them if they're in, all throughout my hierarchy and in different folders. The other way to do that is to update all, and this will basically pull up and show you the entire place file that's going to be updated. If you hit update here, it'll run through and it shows you its update progress. And when you close and come back, you notice all of those have now been forced into the 4th revision. Also wanted to touch on how you can manually roll back a package. So here I'm going to make another copy of this, move it out 5 studs. And in this package here, I'm going to not delete the package link, but in this package here, I'm going to roll back to version 3. So now I have my sphere back in here, and I have the yellow color. I'm actually going to break the link here. So I'm at version 3, and I can't publish the changes because there's a newer version, and it won't let me override that version. So we're going to kind of do a little workaround here, and we're going to delete the package link. We're going to grab these 2 parts, and we're going to cut them and grab a package that's at version 4. I'm going to paste into at original location. It's going to tell me that I'm in a modified state. I'm going to delete the contents of that version 4 package. Now I have the contents from version 3 in the version 4 package that's in a modified state. I'm going to snap this back to the original position, and then I'm going to publish. And what this is going to do is basically override the meshes and parts I had in that package. And now you'll notice that I'm at version 5. So version 5 is basically a rollback of version 3. I can come in again and do update all. And you can see all of those fire hydrants are now have the little sphere top, and they're back to yellow. And if we look at their package links, they're also at version 5. So we currently don't have a way to roll back and publish, and this is kind of a little workaround to achieve that. There is one more way to roll back a package to a previous version. And if you go into the package details, you can see version here. This is one way to do it, but it's a little bit difficult to know what you're actually rolling back to. There's no way to see a preview of this, but you can click the version and it will roll that back. It's a little bit of a blind process, and we're hoping to get this functionality into the compare package versions tool. As you can see, I have a time and date stamp here for this. I'm going to go ahead and pick version 1 and then submit. And it basically uploaded that, And here it gives you a link to the actual package on the Creator Hub. Bring this over here. Here you can't really see much information. You can't see the version number on here. But now we're rolled back to version 1. As you can see, all of these are at an old version. So I'm going to update all once again. Close, and you can see that now I'm at version 6. So version 6 is basically a copy of version 1. It's a little bit confusing and hard to understand what's what here, but if you go back into your package details, you can see now I have a version 6. You can pull up in Creator Hub, you can get to your package and its version history by typing in the package number here. And this one at least shows that here's the current published version, which is version 1, but it's also the version for version 6. So this one gives you a little bit more detail, but again, you can't see any details as you can in the package versioning tool. You can also restore here as well, but again, it's kind of flying blind because you can't really inspect that package, and there's no change notes in this to help you in that process. So I always like doing the manual rollback method that I showed previously, but this is another way that you can achieve that same goal. And that's going to about wrap it up for the second video of the series, Package Workflows. Stay tuned for the third video, Advanced Package Usage.